We are back with Inside the Show. I'm Scuffy. He's Kooks. You know the deal by now. And we got a couple things to go over with. And you know what? You know how I like to do. We like to jump right into it. And the first thing on our agenda today, we finally got our gameplay trailer here. And can we call it? Like, I mean, you can call it a gameplay trailer. And the reason why I'm bringing this up first is just because we look for the years past. We know what we're expecting as a viewer, as a player, when seeing the first gameplay trailer. You expect to see some legends. You expect to see about go for what? Maybe like 2 minutes long, seeing some snippets here and there. We got one, was that past Monday? It was like 2 Mondays ago. Or I'm trying to think what it was. Was it last Monday?
I think it was last week, yeah.
It was sometime last week. It was like maybe it was on the Friday that we got the trailer because we recorded the podcast on Wednesday. It was definitely afterwards. So I'm going to say it was on that Friday, and it was 30 seconds long, which was, not the typical standard. And we did get to see the first look of Jeter, the nice look. The I thought it was going to be either the Oakland throw, like the little flip, or his signature throw, which it was in the hole with the jump at the shortstop. And it was nice, Cougs, but it like we had a couple of snippets which we'll go over, like some new features. But in overall from trailers, it just felt, I would say it felt like there was part missing, right? I think that might be due to not seeing any legend reveals like we see in the past, or it just felt like it was short. Let's just say what it is. It was short. It was 30 seconds long when we're like compared to like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes of a banger or a song. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, no, it was pretty underwhelming. There were some interesting like pieces in that little trailer, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But overall, 30 seconds. We're used to seeing a big legend revealed at the end. We're used to seeing some new like animations and some new kind of teases on things. And I don't know, it didn't really felt like we got a lot of that. We got some stuff with presentation with like, pregame stuff with the flag over the field and helicopters and the flyover stuff, like little things like that'll be cool, but we're hardly ever going to see those when something like Diamond Dynasty, people just want to get into the game, get out. But yeah, no, it was just a little underwhelming. This trailer literally could have been a YouTube short. It could have been a TikTok. Like it was 31 seconds long. And yeah, no, it's definitely not what I expected for the gameplay trailer for 23. I was a little underwhelmed.
Yeah, I will say that too. It's just not seeing any legend reveals in the trailer for the first time. I'm not sure if they have a Legends trailer lined up, but we saw how they introduced Ian Kinsler by doing this through social media. Not your typical way of getting the gameplay trailer, giving you like maybe 4 to 5 legends, and then eventually reveal in the future premieres or streams, whatever. That wasn't the case. And the first thought, like, no legends. I wonder if that thing from last year with Randy, when they took down the trailer for who knows what reason, if there's like, they're kind of playing safe, but then again, this is like a tinfoil hat idea. Who knows? I don't know, but we did get some snippets, like you mentioned, in the trailer. Let's go over them real quick. I believe the first one we saw, was it the MLB draft? I think it was the MLB draft that we saw first, where
it was a very short glimpse of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very short glimpse of the interface, which looks very clean. And we heard that in the details for the pre-order of the game, and now we get to see the first glimpse of it. And there's a couple of cool things about it. One big thing is, first off, like the UI, the interface looks very clean. And the second big thing is like there's a few little tidbits, and the bonus demands came out to me. Like, I don't think we ever seen that, or when you go into the MLB draft or anything like that. And there's a lot of cool information of what the player could be, whoever gets picked or whoever was picked, because it was showing the round 1 results. But it looks good. As you know, I'm not the avid franchise player as I once was. But it definitely intrigues me to see everything on the screen. And I will get into another little tidbit before we get off this topic. But first off, Cougs, when you see that, I mean, is it the same type of reception you're getting from me? Like, it looks clean. I'm just curious to see what else comes from it.
Yeah, no, similar to what you said, like I'm not really in the franchise game very much, so to be honest, I don't know how much of an upgrade this even is just because I'm not really familiar very much with the 22 like draft area of franchise. So I mean like this could be a game changer, this could be just a bunch of the same visual information on the screen. I don't know. I feel like there are some new things with overalls now being numbered and potential and stuff like that, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, once again, I think that if this is a big improvement for the franchise community, I love it. I just don't really have much to base it on because I don't really play the mode. But hey, I want franchise to get the love that Diamond Dynasty does, to get the love that other game modes do. So if this is what the franchise people are looking for, or even if it's a good first step, I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And nice little Easter egg. I don't think it'll know if it was planted by SCS, but seeing Ant's name in there by being drafted by your Angels
Oh yeah,
was
Antonio
kind of cool.
Ortiz.
Antonio Ortiz, who, if you guys are following Ant Ortiz, he does great franchise stuff. A friend of the podcast, I believe we had him last year at the
Yeah.
franchise premiere. So um shout out to Ant there, and make sure to follow his content on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, you know it. Um, but yeah, it was cool to see. And the tidbit I want to point out, I'm putting my tinfoil hat again, is the internet connection required for online features on our franchise screen. Now, I like to just put the tinfoil hat because I like to get crazy with it, and I know this is not going to happen, but it's wishful thinking, right? When I see internet connection required for online features, it could be two things. The most logical ones is probably MTO. This is probably part of March, October, and the cloud saves. When you want to use franchise, you could use cloud saves. But you know, the crazy of me wishes, and I have been actually meaning to. Oh, I wish this came back because I started to do this in Madden, with connected franchises, and me and my buddies do a quarterback only league where we just play with the quarterback. It's like 10-15 minute games, and we play that through connected franchise. And it made me like ponder the days when I online franchise was the mode I played most, especially from, I think, from basically 13 to 16, even with Diamond Dynasty available. That was the mode I played most. And that made me think, it was like, maybe it's time they bring it back. But that's 0.1%, I feel like, that
Yeah.
actually happening. But hey, if there's a world out there, another universe out there that is actually coming back, I would love to see it. Because I really do miss playing online franchise, building up the teams, and going against other human players like that. But yeah, I just had to point that out. Just, if it does
Well,
happen, you can say you heard it here first.
yeah, no, and I was gonna, I was gonna try to play devil's advocate and not necessarily shoot your theory down, but I was gonna be like, oh well, this, and this. But as you were talking, I went back and I watched this 30-second gameplay trailer because I was thinking that the part at the bottom of the screen that said internet connection required for online features would basically be there the whole time, just as kind of like a
Nope.
blanket statement. It is only there for the March to October, or I'm sorry, the mini seasons screen that they showed, the draft screen, and the little like player walkout animation that we got, which we still don't really know if that's a legend or if that's a like a draft thing. I don't know, but it only shows up on those three very little areas of the trailer. So hey, you might be onto something. I don't like if they're gonna. Why would they specify it in just that section? I didn't even catch that.
Yep.
That's high
So
IQ.
hey, if they bring back, dude, if they bring out online franchise and then all the other updates that we're currently seeing, they're really trying to hit this out of park. Which, it doesn't surprise me because we kind of mentioned last week. I mean, you have Derek Jeter on your cover. Want this to be the best? I mean, they always wanted the next year to be the best version of the game, but I feel like there's a extra oomph having Jeter being owning this edition, and you know there's going to be a lot of eyes on this game coming this year. Um, but you
But
mentioned another. Oh yeah, go ahead.
one more thing about that. Could that screen possibly be in custom leagues?
Do you can't draft in custom leagues?
I thought you could do either MLB or what's it
When
called?
you can't do
Diamond
fantasy
Dynasty mode.
drafts. Can't
I
do
know, I'm
fantasy
saying
drafts.
what if that's a new thing?
Oh,
What if they're adding that to custom leagues
oh, that would make my life
and
so much easier.
instead of doing a whole new online franchise, what if they just add that kind of element into like a custom league, custom franchise type thing?
Mhm.
I'm just saying, I feel like if they're gonna do it, they could probably just add on to custom leagues and if they want to bring that type of experience back.
Yeah, I guess they'll just keep on adding new things
Yeah.
as we go. Because last year, I mean, custom leagues didn't even get an update.
Yeah,
I
custom
don't
leagues
think.
was kind of just quiet all year. I don't even think I even went into the mode once now that I think about it.
I haven't either. I planned to, but it just didn't work out. But yeah, I think the past 2 years actually. Because when did we go to SCS? That was 19, right? Before 20?
Yeah, that was before 20. Yes.
Because that's the first time we saw custom leagues, right? And that's what
It's
we
the first
did
time,
when we
yeah.
were there.
Mhm.
So, yeah, they really haven't got any updates the past few years for custom leagues.
Yeah, as far as actual updates to the mode, yeah, there's been some gameplay updates that has affected custom leagues, but
Yeah.
nothing to change what the mode is.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kinda sitting there. That'd be dope, because I was it last year? I think it was 21 before 22, um, myself and Paul Sporer did a league called the Moneyball Baseball League where we did the fantasy drafts, like,
Mhm.
through spreadsheets. We
Yeah.
had 30 teams. We did through spreadsheets for Diamond Dynasty players, and that'd be kinda be dope if we could do that for custom leagues. That would save a lot of havoc, make it a little easier. I think it'll be a little bit more accessible too. I think more people will be willing to do that,
Mhm.
if you had that option there. But yeah, we'll see where that goes, and, we'll probably get more news as I know I was gonna mention this at the end of the stream, but it kinda goes side by side. We finally got a schedule, for the future premieres. I believe it's on I have it up right here. It is March 9th, would be franchise MTO presentation and commentary. So, I'm sure we'll hear more about that on March 9th. We'll go over the full schedule, a little bit later on the podcast, but yeah, March 9th is something to look out for your franchise and MTO users. Um,
Mhm.
that want to see more about the MLB draft. But yeah, I do want to mention something that you brought up beforehand, and that was the mini seasons screenshot, which had a little tidbit that was like what the community noticed, and that was classic mode for mini seasons. So mini seasons is coming back, which is a big win. I didn't see that going anywhere, but it looks like it's getting a little bit expanded on when you see that classic mode. Classic mode is when you play 28 games, free inning games. Depending how you do, you get a certain amount of reward. I think the feedback that we had as a community is just have more cards being part of the rewards not just I think we only had 2 with the Johnny Damon and the Evan Longoria from the beginning of the year. We like to see more, and we probably will get more, once we get into the Diamond Dynasty section of today's podcast. But, yeah, seeing the Classic Bowl definitely feels like it's gonna be expanded on. I guess it's gonna be 6 you could customize 6, 9 innings, play as how you like it, and go from there, but we really don't know until we hear more, but it's cool to see that, that's getting expanded on.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like with the classic mode, like what that opens up for other versions of mini seasons. Is there going to be like a competitive mini seasons that's designated on a certain difficulty that is for higher rewards? Is there going to be a themed version of mini seasons where in mini seasons you can only use players from the certain program or whatever it is? Like how what exactly when they're saying classic mini seasons, like what is that differentiating against is my biggest
Yeah.
question because if you have different modes then I want to know about it and hopefully we find out a lot about that on Thursday's feature premiere. But yeah, I'm with you. I hope we get more like mini season rewards throughout the year because that kind of felt like a missed opportunity in content this year. The fact that we're only what three I think what 3 guys all year. You said Damon, you said Longoria, and
That's
uh,
it,
uh, no, there was
right?
the Willie Adamas, the finest Willie Adamas at the end.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, no, I the only reason
Yeah.
I know that is because I had to get that card for a theme team, so I grinded it out,
I
but otherwise I
I
wouldn't
like how
have.
you say theme teams though, because that was going to, like, be another thing. I think in Diamond Dynasty, they're kinda even we heard that they posted a little snippet before we recorded this. The first thing Ramon says about the DD is theme teams coming to DD, and we know that with the captain, boosts that we're gonna talk about a little bit later today, but that could be something with mini seasons as well. Bring your theme team to mini season.
I have a top, or when we start talking about that Diamond Dynasty stuff later on in the show right now, I want to come back to that idea of theme
Okay.
teams because I have some questions about that. But we'll get there when we get
Well,
there.
we'll get there as we go on. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, as
Oh
we
yeah.
always do. Um, but yeah, anything else from the trailer? I think that's it. I mean,
Like
like
I
we
said,
said, we
just
saw the reveal, but we
go
don't know what it's
ahead.
for. Sorry, I
Yeah, I was
cut
just
you
gonna
off.
say no, I cut you off. I was just gonna say like presentation stuff, like we said in the beginning. I'm
Mhm.
sure there's some new animations that were there that I just didn't really notice. But yeah, it's just it's hard to go off of 30 seconds. It's hard to really
Yeah.
break down a 30-second clip much more than what we have, considering uh that came out after two feature premieres, and it's just it's almost like they had what it is, Scuffy, with this gameplay trailer. It's almost like they had like the big thing that they're really pushing this year is the Negro League storyline stuff, which is
Mhm.
amazing. We all are very excited for that. And it's almost like, well, we gave that its own highlight. Now what do we show in the trailer? It's almost like
Yeah.
they like ran out of stuff to show in the trailer. Um and I'm sure if the gameplay trailer would have been released before any of the feature premieres, they probably would have had a tease for the Negro League storylines
Yep.
in there, but that definitely deserves its own showcase, its own spotlight. So
Mhm.
that's probably what this came down to, is because it seems like that was such a huge project and such a huge addition to the game that like that's kind of one of the big selling points. So
Yeah.
that probably is a factor as to why the gameplay trailer was short. But I'm like I said earlier, I'm excited for a possible Legends trailer. That's kind of the next thing I'm looking for past the Diamond Dynasty feature premiere on Thursday.
I agree. But yeah, going back to what you said, that makes perfect sense then. And it deserves to have its own spotlight when you're adding that significant
Yep.
thing to the game. So, I could definitely see that. But yeah, Legend Sheller maybe coming our way. They said what 25 plus, still over 180 legends in the game. So
Yep.
it has to be something. They are still revealing two this week. We should get one. I mean, you guys will know probably before you hear, well, you will know before you listen to this podcast that we're going to get one. I'm hoping. I'm hoping since we saw the little tidbit of the captain boost, it's going to be David today, but that's wishful thinking. Once again, he's coming. There's no doubt about it
Has to
in
be.
my mind. He's coming. It's just a matter of when.
Yep.
Um,
Has
so
to be.
has to, I couldn't see them not getting him. But yeah, we'll get one today. Well, yesterday if you're listening to this, and then we'll get one. What did they say? Friday? I think Friday.
The did they say that? Let me see. Let me scroll down to their thing. Oh yeah. Oh wait, no. Tuesday tech test closes, which was yesterday.
Yep.
Wednesday new legend reveal.
Thursday
Thursday
feature.
feature premiere and new legend reveal. I
Oh,
wonder if
they'll do it
go
after.
ahead.
No, I
I
was
was
gonna
gonna
say they'll
say
do
it.
go.
You
Or
first. You first. You first. You first.
no, the delay. So we have a delay, by the way, on the recording thing that we do. So sometimes we're going to just keep on cutting ourselves off
Yeah.
because we hear it a little bit late. So that's why we keep on cutting. It's not like we're
Yeah.
trying to be disrespectful. it's just, it's just
Hey,
that
you go
it
first
works.
on what you were
No,
saying.
I lost my train of thought after that. So go.
Okay. I was saying I wonder if this actually means that we're getting two legends this week, because we're recording this obviously before the feature premiere and before the Wednesday legend on that schedule
Yeah.
has been revealed. So we don't know this. I'm wondering if they possibly uh meant to say new legend tease and then Thursday was new legend reveal. Are we really getting a new legend today, or are they just doing the tease and then revealing the actual legend tomorrow like they did with Ian Kinsler, where they showed
I
him
hope
one
not.
day and then the next day really or revealed him?
I think everyone's expecting 2, so I think there would be a little outrage.
They better.
I rather 2. I think we all do. I feel like we'll get one today, and then we'll get one after the feature. Because it says new legend. They're both. I mean, it says both new legend reveal, and that was the same statement they put out when they put this like the first tease saying it was going to be new
Mhm.
legend reveal. So has to be new.
I
We'll
hope
see.
so.
We'll talk about it all next week. So we'll have
Yeah.
that to talk about.
Or if they
Um,
reveal it while we're recording, we'll mention it.
yeah, which could be in next 25 minutes or so.
Yeah, if it's not in the next 25 minutes, then we won't have it on
That we
here.
won't have it, no. Uh, but anyway, we had to talk about we covered both feature premieres last episode, and we don't have one to talk about this week. We have a little snippets of what we're going to see tomorrow, but we'll get to that in a little bit. First, all last week from Wednesday until yesterday, we had the tech test to play with, and we're not going to keep this structured. We're just going to be basically talk about our experience on tech test and just open up for a discussion for us. Um, Cougs, I gotta say, I'm going to start off saying after playing a tech test, and then I'll get to my reasons why. But I want to hear if you felt the same way. After played the tech test, I was a lot more optimistic on gameplay than I was, say, for 22.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. It's kind of weird. Obviously, we haven't gotten the Diamond Dynasty feature yet, but it kind of feels weird to be a little bit like it feels a little bit more like the gameplay side of things feels like a little bit more of a safe bet in a way than the
Mhm.
Diamond Dynasty content, which kind of feels backwards from what we're
Yes.
normally used to. So, uh, yeah, no, I felt like the gameplay in the tech test was good. I played a couple 9 inning games on Hall of Fame. I
Mhm.
played a little bit of co-op with Shelfie and Fuzzy. I actually did a lot of CPU grinding because
Oh, yeah, that's what I wanna start out with. Damn it.
yeah.
That's because I was telling Cougs before, there was something I wanna start out with from the beginning of the episode, and that was it. I was gonna be like, we
Yep.
you you could just go ahead because you already kinda were talking about, but
Well,
that's what I wanna talk about. Damn.
Scuffy, I think what you're alluding to is the fact that yours truly acquired the very first superfractor in all of MLB The Show 23. I don't care if it's the tech test. I was the first in the world to get a superfractor card. Yeah, I parallel five Shohei Otani in the tech test in about 6 hours. I
Uh, and
yeah,
hey,
I had my reasons. Okay, I have valid reasons for doing it. I promise.
I'm sure you do. I wouldn't put that against you, but my god, that so you just I didn't even know his play CPU was on there. Was there?
Yeah, yeah, it
And that's
was.
all you did? At least it's
Well,
easier because he's a pitcher, right? That's the easy
exactly.
part. So,
Yeah, because you get the two-way versatility, you get the hitting and pitching stats. Otani is by far the easiest card in the game to get parallel stats for. Like I
yes.
said, when people saw that I had the parallel 5 card, they were like, "Dude, get off the game." Like whatever. I was like, "Dude, this took me 6 hours. Like this was not that bad. It's that fast.
Mhm,
You can do it." Um but yeah, no, I wanted to do it for a couple reasons. Obviously, it was, fun for, a YouTube video idea having the first superfractor, but I wanted to see if they had any new parallel changes in
mhm.
the tech test because in last year's tech test, we had that new parallel art. Because in 21, the parallel art was a little bit like thicker on the card. The border was a little bit more noticeable. Whereas in 22, the border and or the parallel design as a whole on the card was a little bit more slim. It wasn't as noticeable, but when you got to 4 and 5, it had that little extra, like almost like flame effect or whatever it
Yep.
was. So I wanted to see, and they did have that in the tech test for 22. So I wanted to see if there was any changes to the parallel art for 23. As of right now, there isn't, but that still maybe could change by the time 23 comes out. Um, and yeah, I kind of wanted to test some of that stuff out. But speaking of changes in card designs, you want to take this next one because I know you're excited
Yeah,
about this.
I was literally going to just mention that right afterwards. And then I want go back to Itani in 1 second. But yeah, we kind of saw it from the beginning. I've been kind of big advocate for this animated cards. Looks like it's coming to. I mean, it kind of started with the supercharged card last year, but it wasn't like through the background of the card. It was
Yeah.
just the borderlines, like we see with the parallels. But animated cards look like they're here. We saw if they are up on Inside Edge, that they'll get a lightning background, which made me curious why they would do a lightning
Oh.
background. You didn't know that.
I
It was
didn't
because of
realize
Inside.
I was gonna ask you like what dictated a card getting that lightning.
Yeah,
So now
Inside
you
Edge.
answered my question.
Yep. Inside edge, especially if they're a diamond player, they get the, I think it's for any inside edge. If they're up, they get the lightning background. I was very curious if it was going to be lightning because you figured the player of the month, but they might have something special for that, which I assume. But, and then if they were a diamond live series cards, the diamonds in the background highlight, which was a nice little touch. It's very simple, and that's all it needs to be, right? It's just it pops, even though it's the simple of the animated cards, because I know they can't go crazy with it because we don't want the inventory pages to be slow like they were. Was that 17? Yeah, I think that was
Yeah. Oh yeah.
17
Yeah.
when it was just some days it was just tough to load up your inventory. So,
Yeah.
but I love that they introduced that. I'm curious to see what else comes from it. I'm sure Supercharge is going to have that more inside edge and then player a month. I'm not sure if they'll go more to that, but hey, that's a good start for me. It's
Yeah.
awesome to see. Just gives that little extra element. And speaking of that, they did a really good job with the presentation within DD to show the card art, not only in like say the batter has like a practice swing before the next pitch and then the card art pops up. When you bring in a new pitcher, this is crucial for even for like, or that crucial just streamlines it a little bit. You get to see the pitcher and then the card that is for the pitcher because it could be different iterations of that pitcher, and to not have to pause your screen, press triangle, press Y to see what card, what pitcher card that is. It makes it much easier. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think that's it's honestly kind of long overdue because MLB The Show has really, most of the time the card art is very clean. It's very
Yeah.
appealing to look at. Sure, there might be card designs that you like better than others. Like I wasn't, over the moon about like the finest card art this year, but I really loved what they did with some of the milestone cards, like the Pujols card and the Aaron Judge card and stuff like that. Like I want to see that art in the game somewhere. Like I
Mhm.
want to see like honestly, what I think would actually be kind of cool is how they have on the new PCI feedback, right? They have the player's headshot model, they have the power, the contact, the vision, when the three attributes that are right next to that player's head on the top of the feedback. I think it'd be cool if in that background maybe they had like something like of a almost like if it's like Miguel Cabrera, maybe they have the retro finest kind of card art background behind him, or they have,
Okay.
if it's a postseason card, they kind of have the postseason flags back there or something like that. Something to kind of show you at all times what type of card this is instead of it just being, oh, this is Miguel Cabrera. Like that's it. Like I would just those extra little tidbits of detail, I
Mhm.
think would help the presentation go even further because that way you kind of always know the caliber of player you're going against. Um, but yeah, no, with all of these presentation changes, I even liked how they had on Battle Royale, they had the little Battle Royale icon in the
Yes.
bottom of the scoreboard. So like you always kind of know, like especially if somebody's giving, like, let's say somebody has a really weird clip, a really weird thing that happens, and they want to share it on social media and be like, why did this happen? This is weird. Well, you could say, like, okay, well, that is, I see this is Battle Royale. So I automatically know that this is on All Star, assuming it's still going to be an All Star, which it will. Um, and then you see, well, the PCI is a little bit more unforgiving or forgiving on All Star. Weird things kind of happen on this difficulty. That change, honestly, is a presentation change, but it has an impact for SDS when they're looking at clips for feedback as well, because they can kind of quickly see what the difficulty is, what the conditions are, and stuff like that. So overall, man, all the stuff about presentation, I liked when it came to in the game. I will say I wasn't a huge fan of the actual in Diamond Dynasty like lineup building screen. I didn't
Okay.
like you had like your squad where it showed the full field, and then you would scroll down to get to your bench,
Mhm.
then you would scroll down to get to your rotation, and then scroll down to get to your bullpen. I thought that was and then you had to scroll to the right to get to your lineup. I thought that was a little bit too much. I feel
Mhm.
like the way they have it now, where you can do your lineup, your bench, and your uh uh your starting nine all on the same page, was pretty good. That's really the only kind of negative I have with any sort of presentation throughout the entire tech test.
Yeah, I wish you could just, like, tab instead of scrolling, like,
Yeah.
just press one button and then it go to the next screen or so on. That'd be kinda a little bit easier, just one button and tab. I didn't play it too much around it, I was just playing VR. But yeah, and one last thing with the presentation, also, when you look at the cards for the hitters, it gives you is it a power hitter, balance, I believe
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything else besides those 2. I'm gonna assume it's contact, for the 3rd one. But yeah, that was another little tidbit. Just, it's the small things, but you notice them, right?
Yep.
Um, and I need a yeah, I love the BR logo. That's kinda dope. Did they have anything for ranked? Like saying that's ranked seasons or no?
Well, we didn't have ranked in the
Oh,
tech
it's the
test.
ranked
We
co-op.
had
Yeah,
ranked co-op, but I the like I was playing 9 inning games in casual, and I was just looking for games on Hall of Fame, so I don't think they have anything in that area.
fair enough. Alright, sweet.
But they
I
might when the
also
game comes out.
Yeah. Well, no, but I assume it's going to. If it
Yeah.
has it for Battle Royale, I'm going to assume it has for ranked and events.
Yep.
Also, going back to Otani, now, how did it feel to actually play him as a two-way player?
I was just gonna bring that up. So it was a little bit confusing at first. I didn't really
Mhm.
understand how to do it. So the way it worked was you take like normally the way it is in 22, you put Shohei in your rotation and then you select him as your pitcher, and then you can use him. He's your hitter when a pitcher comes up or whatever. There was no Otani rule, no DH, none of that. So now in 22, the way to use him is put him you don't put him in your rotation at all. You put him in the DH position.
Oh,
And then when you go into a game, Otani shows up as a sixth starter. But if you already have him as your DH, he's there. So like it's kind of weird because they have the universal DH, but they don't let you take the DH off. Whereas
okay.
like, the Angels, when Otani pitches, they don't use the DH. They just use him as
Mhm.
he's hitting in the pitcher spot. So you can't actually take the DH off of your team. Like let's say for some reason you wanted your pitcher to hit, um, you can't do that. So you have to put him at the DH position, and then he'll show up as a sixth starter in your rotation when you're actually choosing your pitcher. Now,
Yeah,
if you want to use somebody else as your DH, but you still want to get his energy back, then you would throw him in the rotation to get his energy back and somebody else at the DH position. So
okay.
it's a little bit confusing if you don't know how to do it at first, but once you kind of see how it works, it's like you get it.
It makes sense.
Um,
Yeah.
so I hope in like the handbook or even just like a tutorial or something, maybe they could kind of clarify that. But yeah, no, it was great, man. I really enjoyed having the universal DH. I was back in the day, I was always against it because it's like, you have all of these 99 God squad hitters over and over and over again. That time where the pitcher spot came up, it was that little moment of relief for you on the mound. Plus, it forced, the opponent to maybe make a tough decision on my pitcher's dealing. Do I take him out or do I um let him rock and hope that maybe something crazy happens. That area of the game is no longer here, and I will kind of miss some of those strategic decisions, of course. Um, but I think it's better. I think it's better that now you're not getting kind of bailed out on giving up a big inning just because of the spot in the order you're in. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had a rally start from the six hitter and then when I have two guys in scoring position with the pitcher up, and then it's just like a free out. It's like it's frustrating, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so like there's two sides to it, but overall, I actually did enjoy it because it kind of forced me to be a little bit more, aware of how I was pitching because I didn't have that nine hitter to kind of fall back on and kind of be like, all right, well, I got the freebie coming up. Let's focus on the leadoff hitter instead of him.
Yeah, I agree. I think, speaking of just awareness in general, it was you have to be more aware in the game of every situation,
Yeah.
like you do in baseball. Like in the past, in like previous games, you still feel that way, but it's kind of more basic. Especially when fielding and sometimes pitching, it could just get into a pattern. Like, oh, I know what to do here. Now it's even more with the new throwing um, changes, and especially when you had to make an athletic play, whether it's diving or trying to get to the hole, knowing the situation, and not only that, knowing who's up and basically what their speed is. I noticed that when I started making diamond plays, the meter would change. However, if you have a lower speed, you could just wait until your player gets up and then have the nice sweet spot like you normally do. Where if you're trying to rush it, when it's a speedster, you'll know that it's going to be the meter is going to be a little bit more to the right, and you have to time it there.
Yeah.
I really like the fielding. It makes you think. It puts the skill gap, and I finally feel like I got the hang of it. It's basically anytime you're moving your fielder, it's going to move. Just
Yeah.
think of that, or a diving play. If you're making a diving play, or anytime you manually had to move your player, it's going to move on you. And once you have that mindset, it's going to feel a little bit easier. I'm not going to say it's still not hard. I don't think it's too hard. It's just all about repetition. I think it's more hard, which makes sense in the outfield when you had to gun a runner not throwing to the cutoff man when you wanna risk it and try to throw it over the cutoff man and trying to, make a good throw. That's where it gets hard, but then
Yeah.
again, that's the putouts like that, and that will be just in baseball games in general are hard, so it makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, I'm with you. I really enjoyed the fact that I kind of had to be kind of locked in, whenever a ball was hit into the field. Like, there was there's a learning curve when it comes to this new fielding or this new throwing meter. Like, for years now we've been kind of trained to just kind of turn your brain off when the ball's hit in play and just hit the middle of that throw meter. It showed off a new kind of element of fielding. It showed off some engagement that you needed to have with the fielding system. You needed to know what type of play it was because, like you said, it will move basically anytime a fielder moves. Sometimes in the outfield, I felt like maybe it moved just a tad too much. I was like, I get it. This is, it's not, no throw is easy when it comes to the big leagues for sure. But like, I felt like this is a pretty routine throw. I don't know why it's moving so much to the right or whatever. Um, but then again, that could also just me, be getting used to the learning curve of it. So there's that. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed the fielding and kind of what started this conversation, the awareness, just like overall, when it came to less foul balls at the plate and more strikeouts. You needed to be a little bit more aware of, what count you were in, and you
Yep.
needed to be a little bit more disciplined, and you needed to have a good approach. You go to the fielding side of things, you have this fielding meter that's changing depending on the degree of difficulty of whatever the play is. You have all these different elements that kind of forces you to be just more engaged with the gameplay as a whole. um I think that's going to be a really good change overall when you kind of just have people, you know, instead of just kind of turning your brain off and doing the normal day to day routine of Diamond Dynasty, you have to be thinking about what you're doing. And I think that's a good change. And I'm really excited to see how the gameplay evolves over the year. Assuming that it's similar to how it is in the tech test, I really want to see what the gameplay looks like in April and then what it looks like in September. I just want to see if the game plays the same, if there's any sort of change, and how people are responding to it. Because you
Yeah.
could also have like the other side of that coin where MLB 21, was tough for me to play all year because I felt like I had to be trying so hard every game because of pinpoint pitching and the misbalancing of the content, having all the good cards come out in the middle of the year and stuff. Like, and by the end of the year, it got kind of not fun to play because I had to be like locked in crazy every single time. Will this game kind of be the same for me by the end of the year? I don't know. But as far as the actual changes they made to make me more engaged, I like what I'm seeing right now, and I'm really excited to play in the end of March.
Yeah, I'm same boat. And not only with the fielding, I feel like hitting felt good, like, and pitching felt good. Definitely saw more swing and misses. Sometimes you'll get foul balls here and there on like one random bat, but it's not every single bat where you feel like foul balls are continuing to happen at like these pitchers that are in the dirt. Um, I also wanted to mention the new PCI. I mean, I don't really use PCI since I fade out everything, but I assume you use the new PCI with the bat.
Mhm.
Any thoughts on how that is? I feel like everyone used it, and I think it got raved like reviews. Like everyone that was playing the tech test I saw was using that PCI.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I cannot
Good.
say I had a
I'm
rave
happy there's
review.
someone out there that didn't say it. I mean, geez.
Yeah, I mean, who then again, it could just be like I'm comfortable with what I'm comfortable with. Like I
Exactly. It's
like
all personal
my
preference.
yeah, I like my setup. I like what I have. I've been using kind of the same setup for a couple years now, and I don't really feel like there's a reason for me to change. Now, if it comes out that like if throughout the year I start to see everybody using this bat PCI, I'll be like, okay, obviously there's something here that I'm missing that people
Mhm.
are getting from this. Whether it's how they see the ball when it goes through the PCI, how it just looks in tandem with the swing. It's all about being comfortable and using what you like. Um, but I played a full game with that PCI, and I wasn't I don't know, it just didn't really work for me. I felt like it was a little too clunky. I maybe if I turn the opacity down or something, maybe it'll be a
Okay.
little bit more, but I felt like it took up a lot, and I like my PCI to be a little bit more minimal so I can really kinda see the strike zone.
Mhm. See, I the only thing I mean, I fade out everything, for my PC, but I use the bat as, like, the pre. I like to just see where my thumb, like, resets. What I liked about for me, it no matter what difficulty you're on, it was always the same size. Because I feel like sometimes when I just put, like, the outer PCI to change, sometimes that gets you mentally when it's, like, huge, like, "Alright, I got really do good," or something like that. But that's just me not ever really using the center PCI, so that gave me that feeling once again, um, using the bat, but, I mean, I can't really say since I don't really use a PCI. Either way, hitting in general felt very good. I definitely felt the difference. I felt the late side of good actually was good. Um and I felt that here and there in previous versions, but this time around, what I really noticed, and there was another thing about fielding I want to mention too, but for hitting, what I really noticed, I did not have to rely, especially when this is me playing BR All Star, and me saying this, I think it's kind of for me, it's big. I did not have to rely on the home run. I was getting
Hmm.
rallies from singles, doubles, um, just actually it felt really like I mean, it really felt more baseball-like than the arcade feel of just hitting home run. Not saying I didn't get my share of home runs, but it just I felt like I could do more by getting good contact on the ball, and I'll see more green than I usually had in previous versions. I think that's what I want to point out, and that really felt good.
Yeah, I for me, I definitely I noticed a change in like foul balls and stuff, and that was really good for me. But when it came to what you were talking about with good swings being rewarded more and like uh just kind of better results on swings that we're normally accustomed to seeing kind of weak results on. I personally I didn't notice too much. It felt
Mhm.
relatively similar to me, but then again, like I said, I only played like two 9 inning games on Hall of Fame. played a little bit of ranked co-op on, I think, All-Star, whatever difficulty that was on. So like I don't know if I played enough to really get an accurate kind of representation of that. Um so yeah, it's hard for me to say, and I give me a couple weeks on the main game before I really make a judgment on that, because it's more than just a few games and a tech test throughout the week. When then again, a tech test can always be changed, and I'm sure they are going to make
Yep.
tweaks to certain things. So yeah, it's hard for me to say. I will say overall, just like the hitting itself, it felt solid to me. Like it felt, you know, like like as I said earlier, I had to be more engaged in every at bat, because in 22, the most frustrating thing for me was the amount of foul balls and the inability to put batters away with two strikes. Um, and so noticing a decrease in that, that was the biggest thing I noticed, is I felt like I could pitch in the dirt consistently, and I wouldn't have to worry about these random foul balls that people would get on just a pitch that they had no business fouling off. It's when the weak hits happened after like two, three, four, five foul balls in an at bat. That's when it started to frustrate me, because weak hits are going to happen, especially in a game like this. You can't get away from it, no matter how much you complain about it, no matter what
Yeah.
swings you're putting up. There's gonna be some weak hits. It's baseball. It's when those weak hits are the product of a batter not deserving to be in the box anymore, or just some weird bogus
Mhm.
things that happen. That's when it gets on my nerves. Um, so yeah, I really liked how it felt. I really liked the hitting. But then again, it's only a few games in a beta, so we'll see what it's like when the full game comes out.
Did the feedback help out at all? Now they switch it out, just seeing the swing timer right from the start, and then, like, that's all I looked like was that the swing time, see where it was, see where I'm hitting the ball. Is it off the end of the bat? Is it, like, more inside where I'm getting jammed? I might had a good swing, but it was off the end of the bat, and even though I had good placement, it's gonna be out. I feel like I had a little bit more clarity. I like it better than it previously was, um, but that I think you gotta get a lot more swings with.
Yeah. And after, I forget if it was a gameplay feature premiere, or if it was, I don't remember what it was that kind of forced me to start looking at the actual swing plane a little bit more in 22, as opposed to the PCI results, or the strike zone feedback. But I throughout 22, I was starting to look at the actual timing a little bit more than the PCI itself. So it's not the biggest change for me. It's easier to read now. Now the fact that it's automatically coming up and it's showing the timing first. So yeah, I would say that's a positive change.
Yeah, I agree, and the fielding I wanna mention is relay throws. I feel like they're a little bit more quicker depending on who your fielder is. Like, I had one animation where the runner was going to third and second. I knew I wouldn't get him at third, so I threw the cutoff, and I was like, "All right, screw it. Let me see if I get him at second." And the relay throw to second base was really quick. I never saw it that quick before, so I thought that was pretty good. That's another thing that was very noticeable for me. Um, so anything, I mean, we've been talking about relay throws, sometimes not the urgency, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like it was there this time. But I think it really depends on who your fielder is, because um I think it still matters with the accuracy, um and so on like that, because I had a diamond shortstop that did that. I think it was player a month Bo, and then I had some random shortstop in there and wasn't the same, so it really depends on your fielder, which, makes sense. Um, but yeah, overall, I thought the tech test was good. I didn't play as much as I wanted to. I didn't get ranked co-op in. But I see that a lot of people enjoyed having ranked co-op. Is that like a mode that you now playing the tech test, like going into 23, like this is gonna be one, like, the primary modes now you can play with buddies and get rewards for it. Like, would you
Yeah.
prefer one or other, like, regular ranked or ranked co-op? Very
Oh,
curious how they're gonna do the rewards.
yeah,
But yeah.
I ranked co-op all the way for me is going to be a game mode that I play a lot, just because number one, it lets me play with my buddies and everything. That's
Yep.
always fun. Maybe you and I will play some ranked co-op at some point. Um,
Yeah.
but I think the thing that makes it cool is just it's having a reason to play. And what was nice
Mm.
in the tech test is that it's for at least in my experience, it seemed like it worked pretty well. I didn't run into any bugs. I didn't run into any like matchmaking issues or anything like that. Everything was pretty seamless. So if there's no issues, I'm really excited for ranked co-op. The question becomes is because the ranked co-op screen, it looks very similar to the ranked seasons
Yeah.
screen when it comes to the reward path and everything. I wonder if it's going to be the same rewards that ranked season is. So like let's say the first ranked season reward is 99 Mike Trout. Let's just say for sake of argument, is 99 Mike Trout also going to be the reward for the ranked co-op season? Because I assume those two seasons are probably going to be simultaneous with when they change over. Um, are people going to just be able to be carried to like the World Series rewards if it's the same? Because I feel like it would be tough to have it be different rewards, because I think
Mhm.
Ants on Twitter brought it up that if they give ranked co-op its own set of rewards different from ranked seasons, there's a potential it could become something similar to mini seasons from last year where it only got a couple rewards throughout the year and they barely updated it. I hope that's
Yeah.
not the case. If they go with ranked season rewards for co-op, like the same ones, that at least guarantees that it'll have constant updates throughout the year, and it gives
Yep.
you another avenue to get those
Get more
World
stubs.
Series rewards too. Yeah, you get more stubs, and if you're somebody that doesn't make World Series and you want to get that World Series reward,
Get
in the
carried.
past you would have to either get wins or innings, and you would get it in the path. Now you could just play with your buddies.
Yep.
Um, and I'm also
Hey,
a
who
little
knows?
curious.
What might be a good pitcher, what might be a good hitter. Combination might be there.
Yeah, the combination plus I wonder how they're gonna balance ratings. If somebody's in World Series in co-op and somebody's in spring training, what is the rating gonna be? Is it gonna be like meet in the middle? Or is it because it looked like in the tech test that each person got their own amount of rating points. So like I got like 50, Shelfie got like 38. And like so I don't know if that's gonna come into effect. So
Rating
I just
mod?
wonder how the balancing of that is gonna be.
It has to be a rating mod for that.
Has to be.
Bring the Yeah, bring that back, rating mod. I mean, just the balance. I would assume that's gonna be the case. Um, yeah, that was gonna be my next question. How does it determine points? But we really won't know until we start really flesh out playing that. But yeah, I'm just glad that there was no. Now, did I hear something where you could commit one player to do one thing throughout the game? Like say, oh, this guy's a good pitcher. I think Ants brought that up. If I think he had a screenshot of that. I'm not sure if it was in the tech test or not, but it might be in the regular game. Like, say, if one of your buddies is a really good pitcher, let him stick him pitching the whole game.
I don't
Let
know
me see if I
if
could pull
yeah.
that up.
If that
Uh,
was in the game, I wasn't aware of it, and I don't know how to turn it on if that is in the game.
see. Okay. Here we go. Online head-to-head co-op. Improvements to online savability are continuously being worked on to provide the best experience possible for those co-op players. Play now co-op offers the ability to it's just probably play co-op, not ranked. Okay. But what I was going to say, play now co-op now offers the ability to toggle the rotational patterns prior to loading in the game rather than being locking into rotating. Oh, okay, so you could pick who rotates first, not just lock him for the whole game. Because usually it's like whoever's player 1 is always gonna be the first hitter, and then, um, 4th hitter if you're playing with 2 other buddies. Now you can rotate who's what, and then put up, uh where, it with Ance's tweet, now you can ensure your friend who can't close out a game isn't due to pitch in the 9th inning, which, that would fall under my area. You don't want me pitching the 9th inning. Um, and you could do that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's gonna be in ranked as well. Um, I assume it would.
Yeah, I don't know. There's still like ranked co-op was fun. There's still a lot to kind of figure out with that mode. A lot I'm looking forward to, and I hope they touch on it in the feature premiere on Thursday, or if they're just gonna kind of leave it be. I'm sure they'll talk about it, similar to like the classic mini seasons and stuff. Like they brought it up, before this feature premiere for a reason. So
Yep.
we'll see.
Now, I know we were going to go over what we saw in Diamond Dynasty, but we're almost like at that time where with the full episode already. But do we want to
I
save it until next week?
let's talk about it briefly. Obviously,
Okay.
it was a short tidbit that they showed us yesterday, but we'll get the full feature premiere tomorrow, and then we'll talk about it way more in depth next week. But we can kind of give our initial
Initial
impressions
thoughts
on,
are
yeah,
going
what
to
is, yeah,
in the future premiere. All right. So that was yesterday. Yeah. Tuesday,
yeah.
they showed a little clip with Jazz sitting down with Steven Tips and Kyle. And they were going over the new things that are coming to Diamond Dynasty. The first big one, and it's pretty much a refresh, revamp, whatever you want to call it. There's going to be now seasons and sets in Diamond Dynasty. What does that mean? Each season is going to be associated to different sets. These sets are different players throughout the game that get released at the time. Pretty much what Kyle's explanation was, you might get a card one week and then release a better card the next week. Um, and you'll be like, what's with the card I just grinded for? There's going to be no use of that. And he goes on a little bit further than that. But let's just say there's new sets. So you can have set one or set two, and particular players are going to be part of that set. We saw, I think, example of our first look of a Captain Choice pack. No, a Captain Choice card, I should say, with Aaron Judge being captain. We'll go over that in a little bit. And then I don't think and then we saw a core set. A core set, the way they explain it is live series cards. Here, I'm actually going to read it. What they said. The core set includes live series players, Negro League storyline rewards, live series collection awards, and a few more. So the core set is always going to be available in each season. However, set one cards will only be available in certain seasons. I believe they, with the screenshot they showed, set one's only going to be in season one, season two. I don't think those are confirmed dates, just what they're showing for example. And then in season three, you can see set one being phased out and bringing a new set, which be set three. It's kind of bringing a fresh look into Diamond Dynasty through each season. Now, there is a twist with that. 99 overalls will start coming in day one. And that doesn't mean just the live series collection. 99 overalls will be here day one. On how to get those, we don't know yet. I'm going to assume it's programs, VR, ranked, whatever. So that was a little new and interesting. And then we also saw the captain's boost, like I mentioned before, captain's boost with Aaron Judge. We saw example in the tech test with Brooks Robinson for the one with Aaron Judge. His tier one boost, if you get three players from the Yankees, so pretty much a theme team, you get +5 power both ways and arm strength. And the more Yankees you put on the team, I think it's 5 and 8. You get either +10 or +15 on that. But those are certain, just the seasons and sets, and the 99 overall is coming in day one here, Cougs. That it's going to be a different look of DD come the 24th.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be if obviously we haven't gotten the feature premiere yet, but based off this little tidbit, this looks like a big change, and this has potential to be the biggest change to Diamond Dynasty since Immortals were introduced in the game back in
Yes.
MLB 18, because this genuinely changes the structure of the mode. You are not going to be thinking about Diamond Dynasty in the same way that you've been thinking about it the past few years, because now, instead of you thinking of Diamond Dynasty as like, oh, we'll get, the low overalls at the beginning and work our way up to the higher overalls by the end, you're thinking about it in a full year. I think what people have to start looking at it in perspective of, you have to see Diamond Dynasty as 6 to 8 weeks. And then after those 6 to 8 weeks, you get a fresh version of Diamond Dynasty with new cards, different players, all these type of things. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it be more uh they're trying to make it be more user friendly, because if you think about it, if you grind for a card in April, you might get an 85 overall, and
Mhm.
if that takes you an hour, in September you spend that same hour, you're getting a 99. So now every
What? They put it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
every
that revelation just kinda spoke to me.
they're like they're trying to make it so that your grind is valuable the same all year long. You're just because like if somebody picks up the game in September, they could grind for an hour and have a full 99 team or whatever it is, like, maybe not an hour, but you know what I mean? Like they have access to a lot of really good cards where if you got the game on day 1, you've been going in the trenches working through all of these different content drops to get that good team where you get it later, you just kind of play catch up and you're like, "All right, here I am." Now, I don't think that's going to be the case because if we're able to get 99s right away, you can, you'll be able to do the same thing when the game is out later. Plus, with 99s and having these seasons, one thing that I feel like people are forgetting is this opens up the idea of cards that are released from the current season. So player of the months, tops nows. Um, this provides the ability for these cards to be juiced and just as good as they should be. If you get a guy like a tops now in April, he's getting an 85 maybe to an 88, you know?
Mhm.
But that what he did for that tops now card might be more impressive than what somebody who got a 99 in August did. Now, we don't have to worry about that. They can just be a 99 tops now in April and be attached to season 1 or set 1, whatever it is. So, I think the way I'm explaining it probably sounds pretty cool. Like, oh, this
Yeah,
is, this is a different way to look at the game. I still feel like there could be some negatives to it. What what's the point of paralleling a card if the card is going to go away in 2 or 3 months? What's the point of building a theme team, which is what I said I wanted to come back to, if some players from that theme team might not be able to be used in a couple months? There's the idea of cards going away. I know there's new cards coming in, but cards that you may love kind of not being able to be used in that current season is it's I'm not a huge fan of that. So that's kind of the idea I have with what they showed on Tuesday or whatever. Uh, and we'll get all of this in the feature premiere and we'll get a much better idea of it.
mhm.
Um, but there's a lot to think about, and they really, really have to explain it well tomorrow. Because I
Yes,
think the way they explained it in this short tidbit got a lot of people worried. I don't think it was explained very well. I think Thursday, there's a lot on the table that they have to go over and a lot of questions that I hope they can answer from the community.
I agree. The way you explained it, like, with the tops down player mo I didn't even think of that. Really didn't think of that. That gets me a little bit more excited. The thing I worry about is variety of lineups. I think that's the big question for everyone because that's what made PD for the past couple of years. At least, like last year, you have a totally different lineup, or you see a totally different lineup from each rank game, right? It feels like with these designated sets, you'll see more of the same lineups than you typically do, but we really don't know yet. We really gotta see how they introduce it. And the captain's card probably will introduce a little bit more variety because maybe someone wants to just play with this type of theme team and they'll get a boost with that by doing that. But there's a lot of questions. I kind of hope there's a counterbalance. I even said this yesterday with one of my tweets is um yes, you could play with these set ones, set 2 cards, say, for ranked in conquest, that's how it's supposed to play, but I hope there's a counterbalance where you can actually play with all your cards, whether that still could be restricted, by the way, but you still could look at your whole inventory where that's like a salary type of mode, um, that a lot of people have been advocating for, or even, like, say, now we're getting the competitive setting, maybe we'll get a weekend league type of mode. Remember, this is me wishful thinking,
Yeah.
um where you could still have that restriction. You could put the esports format on the weekend league, but you could pick from any inventory that you have. Um, and then of course events I'm sure going to have sometimes with no restrictions. You can get a little crazy with events with that. That could be your salary type of mode. But yeah, I'm kind of hope there's something to counterbalance. Um, but then again, there's a lot of questions going to tomorrow, and hopefully
Yeah.
it gets that answered. I do wanna say the captain's boost, it does, like, if we just take away the season's that's a welcome addition for sure.
Yeah, and the captain's boost, like you said, I think that will help provide a little bit of variety, especially if you know, there's certain like ways you can build your team and certain cards that fit into that. Like I think the captain's boost is a feature that is going to be really like exciting for a lot of people. I feel like some of the contact and power boost or whatever the boosts are
Kind
when
of
you get to
OP.
tier 3, that's a lot of attribute points, man.
That's
Especially
kind
if
of
you say,
OP.
like, let's say you get a card parallel 5, you're already +5 on all attributes from the base card, and then if you are on a tier 3 captain, you're getting +20 to your power
Yeah.
on certain cards. Like, that's
I'm
nuts.
I'm curious if you can actually go above 125 with these boosts, or does it max out
I
125?
doubt it, but that would be a cool feature. Like, you could get to 145 power if a player already has maxed, whatever, power or whatever. That would be nuts.
And
Um
I'm thinking that Judge is part of the Captain's Choice pack.
Oh yeah, I assume he is because if you look at the screenshot, this kind of looks like a live series card, but it's not. It's a
Mhm.
92 overall diamond, part of set 1. So it's a set 1 card and we know live series are part of the core set. So this card is exclusive to set 1. Um and then there's other captains because above them or below them it says like view my hidden captains. So you'll have a few to choose from and then you can build your team that way or whatever. But with we'll learn all about this stuff in the feature premiere, but like I think the biggest thing that I take away from all this is that I honestly feel for the first 2 seasons of Diamond Dynasty, if we're going off what they have on the screenshot, January 1st to May 5th, that's season 1. May 5th to June 30th, that's season 2. I honestly think people are going to be happy with the mode when it comes to content for those first 2 seasons. It's when it switches to season 3, that's when I think it's going to be the big like kind of telling point for if this structure is going to work, because once set 1 goes away and you're going to lock that part of the inventory away from people on certain modes, that's when I think people are going to it's going to make or break it, because people are going to be like, damn, well, I've loved this card for 3 months and now I just can't use them.
Yeah.
Unless there's something they can do to kind of remedy that a little bit, that's when I think we'll really get the idea of if people are for or against the structure of the mode.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time. And then to get the Diamond Dynasty feature this early, it's I feel like it's good that they're putting this out there now than say the day before, which
Yeah.
makes
Yep.
sense. Because usually we get the Diamond Dynasty feature like the last feature. Imagine they did that on the 23rd. Like, oh hey,
Oof.
we revamped DD. Here we go.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's
they had
good
to
that
do this early. Yeah.
they had to do this early, so I'm happy that I kind of wish we saw like a tidbit like of that in the tech test. I know that probably would have been hard to do, but just to see how it works, like just give like, all right, this is how it works. This is how we're going to do it. Like the first 3 days be set 1, next 3 would be like set 2, and you just see how it works, like how you
Yeah.
like the simple grind, get hit, you get 99 cards. Just give a grind. But I know that's kind of not what the tech test is for, more for gameplay servers and trying other new things. Um, but yeah, it got me curious. I'm happy. What I'm taking about it, they're trying something, right? They're trying something different.
Yes.
That's a huge plus. It might work out, might not. They tried something with 18, like you mentioned before, with the mortals. They saw that didn't work, they took it away. And then from 19 till 22 has kind of been the same structure. Now they're trying something completely different. You gotta applaud them for that. So
Yeah.
and I know probably a lot of work has gone into this. So it's only a matter of time until even after tomorrow, I feel like it's just we gotta see how it plays out. Um,
Yeah.
I I hope some car like I know how much it would be great to have 99 in I think the biggest question is no money spent, right? Um,
Mhm.
how are these cards going to be attained? I mean, I don't see them being standard packs. If they're in standard pack, I really feel like standard packs might be a little bit more boosted this year. Just with the live series being core, if they are the same type of odds, these live series cards are going to be through the roof.
And these live series cards could go up to 99.
Yeah.
Live series cards could be better than we've seen them, probably since MLB 17 because they went down when Immortals came out because they wanted to put the Immortals on the upper echelon, so they kind of brought everything down underneath that.
Mhm.
We haven't seen a live series card go to 99 since 17. The closest we saw was this year with Judge going to a 98. So
Yeah.
this live series could get a big boost this year, and I'm excited to see what they do because there's thing about this is that there's some elements of this that seem a little bit kind of like I'm not sure, but there's some when you think about it, there are some elements that seem pretty cool when it comes to just changing things up. So it's all we all got to see how it plays out. You might be optimistic, you might be hesitant, but just give it a chance. If it's not for you, it's not for you.
Yep.
And it is what it is. They're not going to change much about it now. The game comes out in a month. They don't have the time to really change much about it now. So this is what we're getting. Maybe some small tweaks to some things, but overall, like if give it a chance, at least give the feature premiere a chance. And if you don't like it, it probably isn't the year of Diamond Dynasty
Yeah.
for you.
No, I agree. We'll see. A lot of questions go into tomorrow. And we'll talk about it all next week. What we think at what it will look like afterwards. That's seeing all the information. I would assume this is going to be a big episode. I'm going to assume it's going to go for quite a bit.
Oh
Um,
yeah, if this might be a
an hour
drive to
long.
work and drive home from work listen on the next
Yeah.
episode of Inside the Show.
But yeah. Well, even for this one right now too, we're over an
Yeah.
hour right here.
Oh yeah, but
But
I
before
feel like next week could be crazy.
Yeah, next week's gonna be crazy. Also, they did post a tease, and this is probably be it for today's episode, and see if we could guess it. I mean, you guys are already going to know, but for us, this is our first time seeing the tease. I posted it in the Discord. So they posted a new legend coming to MLB Show 23. Find out who this 2 times World Series champion is later today. It looks like a righty. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
And then yeah, that's all they give. Just 2 times
yeah,
World Series later today, and you have to base it off that. I
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are saying
Go ahead.
Dustin. I'm just looking at the tweet, like Dustin
Yeah.
Pedroia.
See a lot of people saying Manny. I don't really feel like the hair
No,
fits.
nope.
Seen some people say Frank Robinson, which I please, please. I've been asking for Frank Robinson for 2 or 3 years now. I would love to see that guy. He would be one of the best in the game. He's one of the most underrated players ever.
Uh huh.
Um,
Obers.
saw saw some people saying Zobrist, some people saying Mike Lowell. Um, yeah, I'm trying to. I don't know.
I
It's such a vague, like two-time
Yeah,
world. There's so many players that have 2 World Series rings.
yeah. There's not enough information for us to really guess of who exactly this is. Usually we could guess it, um, but now it's just the batting stance, and yeah, a lot of people saying Pedroia. I was never a fan of Pedroia cards. I'm not gonna lie.
Isn't Pedroia a 3-time champion?
No, I don't think he was on the 18. Was they won 04, 9, and they won, like,
No, it was 04, 07, 13, 18.
then he I would figure he would be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Looking at Baseball Reference. Yeah, 2-time World Series.
Huh.
Even won MVP. You would figure they will say something with MVP.
Yeah. I don't know.
But yeah,
Hopefully,
I was
hopefully
I
it's
was
somebody good.
I don't know. I was never a fan of Pedroia cards, but then again, with the new series that they put out now, knows who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
But yeah, we are going to be looking forward to tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on that feature premiere. And glued in because, hey, first off, I didn't expect to get the Diamond Dynasty feature this week. I thought we'll get that at the end. Now it makes sense that we're getting it now. And then we'll have a lot to talk about next week regarding our reaction to this and where we see Diamond Dynasty heading into the future. Googs, I mean, anything else? I think that's it.
No, I mean, we got the feature premiere schedule, which gives us an idea of what's coming next. But
Another
really,
legend.
another legend. But all I'm really focusing on is this Diamond Dynasty feature premiere tomorrow. That's going to be
Yeah.
bigger than anything else that comes out past this. So, hey, I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to learn more about this big change to the mode, and I hope that I hope it goes over well with the community, but only time will tell.
Yep, only time will tell. But anyway, appreciate you guys listening or watching today. If you want to watch us, we're on youtube.com/inside the show. You can follow us on any podcast if you want to listen to it, any podcast platform, I should say. Forgive me. You can find my boy Cougs at twitter.com/Cougs46. Find all socials there. I'm at Scuffy TV. Our official Twitter is Inside the Show PC. Follow us over there. We'll have a couple new stuff coming your way over there. And yeah, till next week. Next week's going to be another big episode. Hope you guys are looking forward to it. We are. And you guys have fun watching tomorrow. Get your popcorn ready. And we'll see you guys there. Peace out. Where is the stop button?